Greetings, mortals! Brother Barlow here, and we are back on a Babbles podcast. This is a podcast where pretty much anybody can come on and talk about themselves, talk about something that they're interested in, and you're welcome to join it too. Just come over and request on our Discord channel. Today's podcast is very interesting. We met a gentleman over on Fiverr who helped us out with our microphone, and I welcomed him over onto the podcast here. Let's get right over to that. I want to welcome onto the podcast here, Livin. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do over on Fiverr.
Hi. I'm Livne, and I've been on Fiverr for I don't know how long now. It's only been a couple months, and I'm an audio engineer, and I recently went through a whole training program to get certified as well. And I've been an audio engineer already for, I don't know, professionally I've been doing it 3 years now. But I've always been into pretty much audio engineering and production already. I'd say since I was 12 years old. And I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here, man. What got you into the audio market and that kind of deal?
Initially I didn't get into the audio market. I actually was in the music field, but I wouldn't really say that even. My mom was a famous pianist in back in Israel, and that had some good influence on my life. She was a pianist and dancer, so I ended up dancing for most of my life, and then I slowly got into music as well through that. Pretty much tried to learn some instruments, but didn't really work out ever. I was always into the technical, not the not more of the creative. Unfortunately.
And see, I think I understand that because for the most part of my life, I've always wanted to be more of a creative type, but I've always found myself more on like the kind of hands-on technical side of things. I did something similar where it was like I loved the guitar, but like I could never learn how to like do any sort of sheet music or anything like that. I could memorize a few songs and play a couple of things, but I never got to where I could feel like I actually could play the guitar. But I've always had this kind of like little knack for rhythm, so to speak, and it's kind of strange. So I get that. And then I love the piano thing there because I always wanted to learn the piano, but just never got a chance for it. Like music's always been in my life, but I've never had like the opportunity to really sink my teeth into learning any of it.
Oh yeah, no, I very much relate to that. I've always been initially pretty much when I was being raised, my mom pretty much said like, if you're not gonna learn an instrument, you better know how to dance, or you better know how to at least do some sort of movement. Like she said, you can either be creative physically or you can be creative more I guess mentally. I don't know, she kind of viewed it like that, so I was like sure. And after dancing for like I don't know how long, dancing for already 10 years, then I was getting a little over it, not just in terms of like trying to figure out a career in life, but something that I could still be passionate about. So, kind of went back to my music roots, I guess, per se.
Yeah, I get that. And that's some wise words too. You got to kind of pick that lane of which direction you're going to go with things. It almost reminds me more so of my art thing. I've always wanted to draw and like paint and stuff like that, but I can barely even write. Like I can't do a straight line to save my life. But I turned out to be really good at clay and like doing pottery. So like working like clay was a lot easier for me than trying to like keep a straight line on a piece of paper. So I kind of get where she's coming at on that,
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, like music, man, like I said it, in like, you're the second like music guy that we've kind of had on the podcast so far. The first one being literally our second episode with my music guy that I told you about.
Right.
And he what I said to him is the same here. You know, music is so important to the world. It really sets the tone of everything that you do. You know, a good movie has to have really good music. You know, it really changes an entire tone of like everything that's going on, in my opinion.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like, there hasn't really been a moment in my life where the sound of something wasn't at the like top 3 most important. So I mean, there are like a lot of others that I know that a lot of my friends are pretty, I would say, like almost desensitized and like jaded to just good quality work when it comes to sound in general. Like, they'll go watch an amazing movie in the theater, but you know, then they'd come out and they'd forget about the like how the sound was at all. And there's kind of a saying that a lot of us audio engineers that, you know, my friends in the field kind of say all the time is, you know, if you're good at your job, no one notices that you're even there. Like, no one notices that you did your job, but you know, if you mess up, everyone's gonna notice.
That literally reminds me of like the roadie mantra, you know, the dudes in the background in the dark clothes for like concerts and stuff. Like, nobody should ever notice that a roadie is around, but the impact of them is so important, you know.
Yeah, 100%. That's actually how I felt. I recently did a gig at a graduation for a school, and I was doing the live sound there for their equipment, and you know, I felt like I was doing a great job doing all these like crazy new mixes like that, or not mixes, it's just these crazy new techniques that their old live sound engineer didn't do. But then there was like this one wire malfunction that I had to go switch out a cable, and like in that split second, it's like it went from nobody noticing that I ever existed to just all eyes on me, and it was pretty, you know, it's a conflicting feeling, because you're like, oh wow, I'm really important, but it's also like no one really like kind of understands the level of that job until you get a reference to like kind of even how you were saying, like initially you felt like your audio could always be improved, and then when you notice an improvement, you're like, wow, it's like I can never go back. So that's how I've noticed a lot of people feel within sound these days. It's more like it's always going to get better, so why ever think about it? But then when it's, you know, it deems a situation where it actually is like, oh wow, I should think about that. People start getting, you know, in their own heads, and they're like, wow, this can be a lot, you know?
Yeah, I totally get that. And bringing onto that subject, for years I have worked with various different microphones, various different equipment, you know. One of the biggest mistakes that I kind of got into was that cost equals better kind of idea. And I've learned that really it's settings. Like, you can take such a poor quality microphone and make it sound super good if you just understand how to set up that microphone properly. Like, it's night and day differences when you get to figuring them out. The only technology that I've found that doesn't follow that ideology is photography, because literally, you know, the more expensive the camera, the better that lens is going to be, and that does make a difference.
Right.
Yeah. When it comes to the average listener, to the average kind of topic, you know, you really only have to, you know, get those settings right and pretty much turn any microphone into this glorious sounding thing, especially when you got software and EQing.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I've recently, and it's like, because I just like, you know, I like geeking out on this kind of stuff late at night, so I was just looking at a bunch of like software gear, and it's getting to a point where it's like they're able to like replicate they're able to replicate like such analog gear at such higher speeds that it's overwhelming. Like the word vintage will truly become like, it'll shoot up in price, in the sense of like the people who want vintage will have to truly like pay like 4 times the amount to get vintage, because you know software is just becoming so cheap yet so reliable, and you can just get it everywhere. So yeah, no, I've been personally enjoying that advancement, just because I can't afford the analog gear either, so the vintage gear. So
Yeah, I'm lucky because like I'm one of those people that when I do something, I'll save my money for it. Like I won't knee jerk and buy something cheaper. Usually I'll wait a couple extra months and like save up just a little bit of extra money and then like buy it. Like the majority of my equipment, like I would like set aside little bits of money each month out of my, like my paychecks, and then I would save it up and go, okay, I'm gonna buy this really good, you know, whatever. And what I've told a lot of smaller streamers is you can get a very similar sounding experience for way cheaper, because it's not until after I get that equipment that I make the mistake and you know, like for example, I bought the Shure SM7B. This was like my fourth microphone. Working my way up to it, you know, I started with the little blue snowball, and then I got the Yeti, of course, you know. And then it wasn't until I needed 4 microphones for like Dungeons and Dragons that I was like, okay, we need to look for cheaper options, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And I ended up finding this little $35 Zoom ZDM1 thing, and with the mixer setup that I have, I was able to make it sound almost identical to the Shure SM7B. I don't know if I could do it now because of the help that you've given me with the settings, but
Right.
it's going to be interesting when I start fiddling with those mics again. But I've been telling people, you know, save your money, get a cheaper option usually, because I could never really unlock the full potential of this microphone, because being self-taught, I can only really go so far. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, no, I am honestly, for that kind of work, when it comes to the mics, actually, so this is all of these are very opinionated within the audio field, because you know they're pretty radical there. It's kind of like you know, analog versus digital there, but also it gets more in depth. It's like what should you spend your most money on? Like, should it be the preamp, or should it be the microphone, or should it be the software? Like all of these questions usually you know, present themselves to any beginner to audio, but when it comes down to it, they are very much based on your experience. Like for instance, like you just said, like you were able to replicate something super cheap, super well in terms of like a cheaper mic and a more expensive mic, and I totally agree with you, because I feel like that's something that I've tried to do most of my my audio career, because see, I personally try to spend more money on the monitoring of what I'm trying to listen to. So like if like I have the best possible headphones I could have afforded. I'm working up to the speakers that I would like all of the way to listen to music or to the sound itself is important for me, so I could really understand what I'm actually hearing, and it's not being affected by my equipment, versus being able to capture something in a microphone in a specific way. Because even if it may be cheaper, like that, even if the microphone may be cheaper, maybe capturing that sound in that specific fashion was what I was intending to go for in the first place, because I've done mainly more sound design and sound editing work, so that was always my focus. But then, you know, you can go ask one of my good friends who, you know, works in music production, and he'd be like, oh no, you know, Levenay's an idiot, he's just talking about nothing right there. Like, no, like that's really, it's exactly how it is. It's like, he's like, no, you gotta afford the best mic and the best preamp, and it's like, no, it really depends on like what you're going for in that field. So like, you know, like a music producer like him would say, yeah, you know, it's the most important thing is to capture the environment in which that you're getting like the talent, you know, the artist. But, you know, for someone like me who's just, you know, trying to do some sound design work, and, you know, obviously music production is great, but I'd more focus on the mixing and mastering rather than the recording. So, you know, different priorities, you know?
Yeah, I totally get that. And you know, almost every piece of equipment in any field is used for so many different things. You know, even just the range of different kinds of microphones. You know, everything has its own purpose, like tools. You know, screwdrivers for screws, hammers for nails. You know, everything has its own like place and use.
Yeah.
So tell me, what was it like on the educational side of things of learning to do this? What was your like kind of classes like and whatnot?
Well, so honestly, okay, so yeah, I actually, being a student within audio after, you know, trying to mess with it my whole life, it initially was a little like, you know, coming in with arrogance almost. It was like, oh no, this can't be difficult, right? You know, but no, I went in there and, you know, I got my ass kicked, right? Like that was that was it was an eye opener for sure. Like I really thought that just because I had some background in it, I would be able to, you know, get a leg up on everyone. But it was really like starting from scratch. And overall, like my classes were pretty structured. They were structured on quarters, so the first and second quarter was all structured on your like building blocks and the foundation of the program. And I used well, I use Pro Tools as my DAW, which is just digital audio workspace. Um, and honestly, I'm very glad that they structured it in the sense of that, because you know, there would be days where I'd be in the classroom and I'd be like crying just to have them shut up about that like 80th feature in the software. But when it comes down to it, that those extra hours spending on every little detail of those softwares was the things that would get me work. So you know, without them, I wouldn't be able to get a leg up on anyone else in the working industry, you know. So like for instance, there was this whole section where they were teaching us how to do you know, like how to not just set up, you know, surround sound in a house, but also be able to set up like there's a new audio coding software called Dolby Outmost, which is it's pretty much like surround system, but instead of hearing surround sound on a linear plane, like on a horizontal plane, you also have vertical changes now as well, because there's speakers in the ceiling. It's wild, and it's also working on coding stereo speakers into that same program. So like right now, sorry, this is a little off topic from the school, but
No, it's okay. Keep going.
there's this there's this new, like the new Apple headphones. Everyone was asking, it's like, why are they like priced up by like 100 extra or like 200 extra bucks from the last model? It's because they have this feature called spatial audio, and what that does is pretty much there's a little chip in the headphones that are able to code different mixes that was done. So let's say like a Led Zeppelin album was all recorded just stereo, through stereo. So like it was recorded to be meant to be listened on like stereo headphones. But let's say now, because they developed this technology, someone went and remixed. He remixed that whole album so that it could be played in a Dolby Atmos surround sound system with speakers in the roof. And they were like, okay, bigger idea. Now let's get that mix to play on headphones. And you're like, okay, hold on. Headphones only have 2 speakers. How are you going to get 2 speakers replicate what 10 speakers are usually needed for? And it could be more or less, but that's, I think, the minimum. And they pretty much came out with this ingenious idea to make that coding software implement into your headphones. So then the headphones would I'll stop right now because I honestly have no idea how the math works. They're able to like do some crazy stuff with that. They're able to like map out how your brain will pretty much absorb the sound coming through the headphones based on just your ears anatomy. Because the only reason humans have like ears rather than just holes going in straight through their head to their eardrum is because the ear shape is what gives us the power to hear sound through 3 dimensions. So like because of the reverberations of like the little crevices of whatever shape your ear is. And through that technology they will map out all the math that it would take. And then they pretty much make 3D sound on a linear field. It's wild. Like I may have been babbling there, and I might have lost some of y'all, but this is
you're babbling on the Babbles podcast, man. That's the whole point. You're doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going on TikTok.
And so this is pretty much that's my new geek hole that I've been going through, and for sure I've been trying to learn how that actually works, because to me it's like so someone in my field also gave a good example. This is gonna be the jump that there was from mono to stereo. Like it's gonna be that huge. Like anything that, like, because back then everything was recorded mono. The second stereo came out, nothing was recorded on mono anymore. Mono was like a fever dream that no one would ever think of anymore. And I think this is gonna be the same jump, because surround sound was like the in between, but people couldn't afford it in their houses, and also like this is in their headphones, right? And people are just gonna get 3D sound walking around in their headphones. Like I don't know. To me, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing.
It's wild to me, because like just a year ago, if we were having like a different kind of conversation here, the thing that I have told people for like my whole life so far, because when I got into audiophile headphones, right? Because I'm wearing some Burr Dynamic DT990s, 250 ohms, set up with the shit Magni Modi set up. I got the analog digital, DACs and all that, and I will hand on Bible explain to people it is night and day difference. Like the difference between like just little old earbuds, or even like your higher end headphones that can plug into your phone, it's way different auditorial experience on it. It's honestly kind of like removed the fun a bit, because like I'll get like a pair of headphones that can actually work on my phone, and I'll just be sitting there like, this is okay, but it would sound so much better if I was at my actual computer. It's wild, because like there was one song I could like literally hear like background noise of like people talking and stuff like that wasn't there anywhere else, and like wouldn't maybe have gotten caught. It's so funny. But what I've told people for the longest time is, when it comes to good quality headphones, if it can plug into a phone, it's not worth more than $125 because the Burrow Dynamics are $125 and they're audiophile headphones that you need more equipment for. But like, if you're paying more than $125 for headphones that could run off of your phone's battery and not like a proper power device, you're probably just wasting money.
Yeah.
Because it's all about those ohms, and your phone can only produce so many.
Yeah, no, I've been reading into a lot of those that vintage stuff that I couldn't afford. I was telling you about, right? And there's this kind of headphone. There are these headphones that are supposed to be like they don't do it anymore because they're just too scarce to come by. But originally, back when the industry standard was with these mics, well, they're still the industry standard. They're just they stopped manufacturing them because the materials have become illegal. But there's a company called Universal Audio, and they're very, very big heavy hitters in the audio field, and they have two mics. I think it's the UA80, the UA87, 81, 87. Wow, I'm completely blanking. Sorry. Pretty much there's this pair of headphones that went along with them that was supposed to be like the standard for recording for like celebrities, and they had to be not just plugged into the wall, they had to have something almost similar to your cloud lifter that you use on the SM7B.
Oh, an inline?
So they pretty much have to, they'd have to take an inline amp and add like a 3, I think it's a 3. It's either a 3 or a 5-prong connection. That I never like really gave it that much time a day until I got to try it out at one of my buddy's studios, and it was shocking, like because for the depth, like the you were hearing, I don't know, like the amount of headroom for bit depth there was like, it was wild. The amount of information that was able to be how do you say, like portrayed, maybe not portrayed is the right word, but it was able to translate so much from the file that normally gets lost. And shocking, truly shocking. I'd say
it's one of my favorite things to do ever. I'll find a new friend, because I'm one of those extroverts that go out and like seek new people to hang out with and stuff like that. And I'll get this like new friend of mine who, and it'll end up being one that's really interested in music, has the really like nice headphones for his phone and everything. And I'll get into that like little topic of like, headphones, it's based on how much energy that they have in it, and your headphones are probably great, but like just come over and try these headphones, just see this. And the look on their faces when they try on like these headphones and like listen to something is priceless every single time. It's so wild. And what's funny is I have just like an entry grade audiophile stuff, it's not like the super expensive stuff, because it gets way up there in price, like as you go further down the rabbit hole into it. Like I got like the fairly cheaper end of the audiophile stuff, but it's still in that grade. So I can't imagine what some of these other like headphones that's out there that's reaching up into the thousands of dollars, is like. Right.
There is something that this is something that I've been having to deal with. It's like a conflicting thing in of the way I do work now, is because your ear becomes more sensitive to stuff, but also there is like a fine line where your ear just can't hear that kind of information anymore. So there's some other headphones that I read that they're like, they can replicate down to like flat 0 hertz, and then up to up to what's it called? Up to 40
40,000. Yeah, 40.
up to 40K, and I'm like, we can't even hear up to 40K like frequency. What's the point? And no one has been able to rebuttal that. So what's the point? So I'm waiting for someone to tell me why some kind of product like that would even be out there if the human ear can't even hear that kind of frequency. So
would you accept a hypothesis rebuttal?
Of course.
Because of course I have no idea what the truth is, but I have a different background that can kind of maybe aid in the direction of it. So I'm more on the psychology side of things. I almost went and got a doctorate and stuff like that. Like I was trying to go into becoming research psychology and that kind of thing. And I never got to do it because life finds a way to mess with your plans. But
Right.
the one of the things that was fascinating to me was the right side of the brain, so to speak. The mute dumb one that can't talk to us. If there's a chance that even though we can't hear it with our ears, it may still be getting perceived subconsciously, which would be interesting. And even if that isn't the reason why they're doing it like that, it could just be a clarity thing, because with like technology, we try to go above the bounds of what our human comprehension can, so that things become more clear and accurate, that there's more headroom for those dynamics. Because an example on that I think is more close to that topic is like frames per second. I get into these discussions with people about, your eye can only see 60 frames per second. Why would I ever need more? Well, because in the technology field of things, 60 frames per second might be all your eye can perceive. However, if you go on Minecraft and you like play a 60 frames per second Minecraft game, it is not nearly as smooth as a 3000 framed one. Even if your eyes can't perceive it, most games work off of their frame rate. So generation and how fast the environment kind of updates can be changed by frame rate. So it's not always about your senses or your eyes. Sometimes it's about the technology behind it. Now, as far as like headphones and audio goes, I have no clue, because I have no idea if a higher hertz means that it's going to go through the wire better and make the experience better on the technology. You know what I mean?
Right.
Outside of that, I don't know.
From what you said though, from before then, when you said how it could affect you subconsciously, that's actually something. There's actually a medical. Well, it's of course it's not under insurance, because this is too wild for the government. But there's actually proven theories that through low frequency hertz machines that you can put through like near the top of your near right where your neck and head connect, and then down to the bottom of your feet. They say sleeping with that kind of machine is able to calm the overall your overall physical body, because so everything in the world has a resonance point, has a vibrational frequency that you can follow. So yeah, through that you're able to well, I mean, I don't have a textbook for every your heart vibrates at this frequency, right? But there are stuff like that, and when you figure out something that you would like to treat, so like for instance, I actually tried this out myself, and I did feel a difference. I am not sensitive to those kinds of things, so I'm not gonna say that it changed my life and it was crazy, but I did feel a difference from session 1 to session 2 and session 3. And through that, and because I have, like I said, I have a back injury, so I've been doing all kinds of work, from all types of the spectrum, trying to get it fixed. And this is something that I tried, and it gave me a lot of relief because I had a lot of muscle spasms there. And I said, could we try to target the muscles in the area of my back? And they said, of course. And after around by the third session, I was actually able to sit up straight with no pain, and it was shocking to say the
It's
least,
wild, ain't it?
because yeah, no, it really is like something so simple, because it's like everyone's seen the like when the person sings at the specific pitch so then the glass breaks trick,
Yep.
right? So yeah, everyone's seen that before, and then like I've never paid that any mind, even being in, the sound field, in the audio field. And I when I tried this out, I was like, wow, okay. And then I had some other like funny thoughts. I was like, wow. So if someone had matched the frequency perfectly, they could just like affect your body. And to me that was wild. That got me into some like Illuminati thoughts back at night. It was like 2 a.m. and I'm like researching all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, I should go to sleep. This is just not.
So check this out. What you're talking about, like, I actually know a little bit about. I didn't know as much on the vibration portion of it, but that same what I do know about that vibration technology is the brain side of it, because it's the same technology that is used in deprivation tanks and to push this. Now, it's either delta waves or theta waves, but those vibrations are basically massaging your brain into producing delta or theta waves. And it's the same thing that happens in a deprivation tank, where you shut off all your sounds, all your vision. You lay in water, and it stops your entire body from feeling, so you feel like you're floating. And this sensation of having all of your senses kind of deprived at one time causes the brain to kind of have this inoculation of different kind of waves throughout it, because your brain's full of neuron impulses, which is like electricity and whatnot, and electricity at the end of the day is just a frequency wave that's emitting something, so kind of like music, your brain produces its own kind of music at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that theta wave or delta wave, I may have that wrong, don't quote me on that, I'm not an expert, but that same sensation that you get from deprivation tanks is what that vibration and those frequencies are trying to produce across through your body that way. So you can kind of look into the same kind of science behind deprivation tanks.
Yeah, no, that's actually interesting. I haven't heard of deprivation tanks almost at all, and I didn't know that
Really?
Yeah, no, I've not I haven't really been into the like well, I wouldn't really call this maybe like psycho. This is a type of psychoacoustics for sure. It was just I've never been. Sorry, what?
I'll explain it a little bit better.
Yeah.
So medical deprivation tanks are a lot more like well constructed than homemade ones, of course, but it's essentially like a small pool, and you put like enough water to fill up like half your body. So like take your chest to your back, and you want a line of water that goes up between, your armpit, basically. Not enough to get up to your mouth is the idea. And that water causes the sensation to be removed kind of from your skin for the most part. Because if you lay real still, that water will get still, and water has that weird, like, if you've ever been in a pool, you can't really feel as good as you can if you're out of the pool. If you wipe your arms and stuff, it feels completely different. So water is the way that you remove the feeling from your body. And then you usually wear like noise canceling headphones or like gun muffs to stop your hearing from happening. You wear like a blindfold to stop your vision. You wear a nose plug kind of to stop your nose from smelling. And then all you do is you sit there and focus your breathing and kind of meditate in a way to kind of get into like a trance almost. And what a lot of people do will either have this pool in a dark room where literally no light happens, or they'll put a top over the pool, just enough air to get through and whatnot, because you want it to be pitch dark. And what it does is it sends your body into trying to find those senses that have been lost. And when it does that, different things happen, and you produce those delta/theta waves, whichever one it is. If you've ever been in a really, really dark room, you'll notice that your eyes try their best to adjust and find some sort of picture, and it'll be even grainy, kind of like on a camera when you're like shooting a dark scene. It gets real grainy and whatnot. And that same thing happens. Your brain is always trying to make sense of where it's at, and when you deprive your brain of all of those senses, it can cause you to get into this kind of lulling kind of feeling that produces this kind of meditative kind of state to be in, and it's used in so many different types of therapy and psychosomatic, trying to fix people's brain problems. And it's been known to the theta waves, delta waves are known for recalling memories. So like if somebody was trying to remember something that they had forgotten from a long time ago, it's very possible to get it back in these kind of therapies.
Oh, okay. I've heard of something similar that also tries to focus on getting some old memories back. It was in a drastically different setting, though. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it's too acceptable to stay on topic for too long, but it was like the study of how different psychedelics affected your brain, and how your brain started remembering a lot of its initial trauma from when it was younger through those psychedelics, and they'd like work through them on trying to bring up that past trauma. And it could be very, very well connected to maybe having the brain be more sensitive to those types of frequencies. I'm sorry, what did you call them? The theta waves?
They're either theta or delta. There's a whole bunch of different waves that happen in your brain, and certain ones are different. I should mention real quick before we continue on, I'm not an expert on any of this. I am self-taught. I've studied a little bit in college, but I have no certificates. I am not a professional on any of these topics. This is just stuff that I've picked up over the years and talking to other people. Like, that's it.
Right.
But it's either delta or theta. They're both their own things. I get them mixed up.
Right. No, I mean, yes, no, I also am in the same boat for sure. I totally don't have a degree on this. I kind of wish I did. I was thinking about getting into psychoacoustics for that reason. Like, I had this so actually back to one of the classes I had when I was getting certified was a psychoacoustics class about pretty much learning how your brain reacts to sound and what the frequency actually is. And it's overall very, very interesting if you ever get the chance to read up on some stuff there.
See, me, my goal is to experience it at some point. Like, I've never been in a deprivation tank yet, but I am actively, like, as we're talking right now, trying to find either to make one myself or to find one near me. Because I'm like, even like just like a few days ago, I was thinking to myself, like, I need to figure something out. Like, I want to try this out finally, because I've been thinking about it and talking about it for like a year or so, and I want to go a little bit deeper into it, because like, yeah, like I could go. For me, I once I left college, I started this kind of vendetta against becoming an expert in anything, but like I actively try to learn as much as I can about any topic that I can. That's one of the things I love about this podcast, because I bring on people that have entirely different experiences, have entirely different expertises and stuff, and then I get to hear their stuff. And over time, I've learned from a lot of the people that talk on this show, and it allows me to learn more about these subjects in different lights and perspective and from different people. And I'm always trying to learn, and one of the best ways to do that is to literally go and do it. So I'm hopefully going to get to do the sleep deprivation thing at some point.
Oh yeah, no, I honestly, let me know when you do it. Tell me about your experience. You intrigued me, so I might look into this.
I said sleep deprivation. I meant, senses deprivation or whatever.
Right. Is that is that what it's called? The senses deprivation?
It's a deprivation tank. It's to deprive you of your senses. So yeah, basically.
Okay.
Sleep deprivation is an entirely different thing, and I have definitely went through that as an experience of itself.
Yeah. Don't have experience with sleep deprivation, but insomnia is what I got for sure.
I used to work at the railroad, and sleep deprivation is what got me fired.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I hadn't slept because I had worked 40 hours in a 56-hour period, so I had only like maybe 3 hours of sleep in like 3 days, and I was going on my 4th day and just couldn't.
Oh wow. No, yeah. I mean I was in the Israeli military, so they kind of bred us to not really rely on our natural cycle of sleep. It's like it was based off a number, so they're like, if you had any more than 4 hours and up to 7, then you are good as golden, and that was the rule. And it wasn't a good rule for sure. Not to teach the body.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is only 4 hours across a 3-day period, and the rule of thumb is after the 3rd day of like no sleep, the body starts to hallucinate. After the 4th day, it starts to go into paranoia and delusion, and on the 5th day, some of the organs start to shut down, and they end up either going comatose or like unconscious or asleep without warning. That like people on their 5th day will sometimes just collapse in the middle of the room for no reason.
Oh wow.
Yeah. The body will literally shut down on the 5th day. Wow.
Yeah, no, I don't think we've ever had something like that. But actually so that they weren't legally allowed to let us off from base unless they saw us have at least 4 hours of sleep. So that could very well make sense why they would do that.
Yeah, the minimum per day is like 4 hours. So like as long as you were getting 4 hours, your body can still kind of function and whatnot. Like that's like the scientific range of like what is recommended, but everybody's bodies is different, so it's not the recommended,
That's the minimum, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the minimum. But what was so funny is, I had 4 hours across 3 days, so like I might have had a nap like in between shifts, and then I would work another 16 hours. Like that was it.
Oh,
like 30-minute nap. God. That was it. Go.
Yeah.
Nowhere close to REM sleep or proper rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I've been trying to get my body on like a proper REM cycle for a little bit now. It's pretty difficult with the like all the electronics and the phones. I've been reading some of that too, how it really affects it. Like your melatonin levels kind of just go into whack if you don't get that set.
Yeah, the blue light situation of trying to get to sleep, but like the phone light will keep you awake longer. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, exactly. So there's the blue light overall just affects your melatonin and serotonin levels in your body. So pretty much if it's 2 a.m. it can feel like 2 p.m. just because the blue light deems it so, and then your brain just gets tricked into saying that. That's why a lot of people who you know, I'm like almost have quotations insomnia, but it's not actually insomnia. It's almost like social media addiction. This is a new thing that's been a huge issue in the past couple of years, and it's like people won't leave their phones alone until the last second they go to bed, but they're not really going to bed at their proper time. They're practically passing out because their body is tired, but their brain wants to stay awake because the melatonin and serotonin levels are shooting, saying, I'm excited, I'm happy, stay awake. So yeah, it's a huge issue right now that's been, like, I'm surprised people don't really talk about it so much, but I've really noticed, like, that horrifying effect of you know, social media and the easy catch to that eye, you know?
I got a pun for you. We're on that same wavelength here, man. Because these glasses that I'm wearing on stream right now, these are not prescription glasses. These are just amber colored lenses. They're super cheap on Amazon. Like, I think they're like $13 a pair or whatever. But these block blue light, and I've got 1920 vision, so like if you ask an eye doctor, that's better than 2020. Like, I need glasses to improve and be able to see my 1920, but like without glasses, I have normal 2020 vision type deal. So I don't need glasses, but like I have so many blue lights in the studio here, and like monitors and phones, and I'm always on my phone, that I've gotten to where like I bought like 4 pairs of these glasses just to like hand to people when they're in the studio, and just for myself, like being on my phone and stuff like that. It's always been that, like, I've always been aware of that blue light thing. So
yeah, no, I when I first learned about it, I ordered I ordered like 2 pairs off Amazon, and I didn't, like, I was wearing them, and I didn't initially notice a difference until I started taking them off, and then I'd watch something with them off, and my eyes would feel like they're like just slowly getting pulled out of my socket, and it was not it didn't feel good like at all. So I realized that there was totally something happening there. Like it's like I think it's the UV lights, that the blue light, the UV light, it all gets blocked out, and it's done a lot for me when it comes to sleeping, because I used to have insomnia, and I wouldn't be able to sleep, and one of the things of like getting myself into a routine of like, all right, I'll put my glasses on, get my work done for the computer, maybe watch a show, play some video games, and then I will take the glasses off, and like taking the glasses off would be like my brain like subconsciously would be like, okay, here's my reset time to get ready to be in sleep mode, and then it worked a lot. So yeah, I'd say that helps a lot for getting a lot of those like wacky reactions to stuff late at night out of your system.
And just what your eyes are used to on a daily basis. Like, I'm such a pterodactyl, I'm always inside this cave. Like, I do not go out. I'm like a ghost white, and I went to a water park, and you know, I'm one of them people, I lather my entire body with sunscreen because I'm going to fry like a weenie if I go out into the sun. And I got out there, and I forgot my sunglasses and at home. And I'm out here, and I'm just like squinting, and I'm just like, I can't see anything. Everything's so bright. Like I go get in the lazy river, and it's just misery. Like, as soon as I get to the exit of the lazy river, I go to the gift shop, and I pay this exorbitant amount of money to get a pair of sunglasses at the gift shop, and I'm like, okay, now I can see. I can actually open my eyes and look around and stuff, and I never took my sunglasses off until I got home after that. Like, I'm such a friggin' vampire.
Yeah, no, I had those reactions to sun usually when I used to have a job working just the night shift, doing security. and like right when like my shift would be over, the sun would come up, and like I would also like I'd scream like a vampire too. Like I'd be like, oh yeah, like right before it, like just like the glare hits you right in the eye before you get in your car, and you're like, ah, shit, oh my god.
The sun is a deadly laser, man.
Yeah.
But nah. Your eyes have to be used to like whatever it is that you're doing and whatnot. And if you're working around computers 24/7, I recommend amber glasses to anybody. My problem in life is I am always worried about like the proper experience. You know what I mean? So like my first time buying amber glasses, I went out and bought the Gunner glasses that everybody kind of talked about, the expensive brand. And I wore them for like 2 years until they got so scratched up and bad that I had to find a new pair. And it's not until like I get I'll go get a product and I'll get the nicer version of it, but like it's not until I wear that one out that I'll go and get something else. And when I go to get something else, I say to myself, okay, I won't pay that money again. I wanna see what the cheaper options are if they're the same. And yeah, again, amber glasses, no different. Like they're all the same.
Yeah.
Just go get the cheap pair on Amazon and be happy. Like if you need a prescription one, that's a whole other topic. Prescription's a whole other topic on things. But like
Right.
if you got good vision and you can do it, just go get the cheap pair.
Oh yeah, I got like a 2-pack on Amazon for like I don't know what like $12. It was like these
Yeah.
two. It was super easy. That's what I'm going for the rest of my life. That's for sure.
And me, like, if I buy the expensive stuff, I will take way more care of it. Like I am super careful. Like I make sure everything's perfect and it's in its case, and then like it's not gonna get damaged. But like I love the freeing of the cheap pair because it's like I've got 3 pairs of them. I'll just throw this one in the corner. Like I can get mad and toss my glasses and just not care. I'd rather have the cheap ones that work the same.
Yeah.
But nah. Anyway, back to the sound engineer stuff. So you've been in it for like so many thousand hours I read on your Fiverr and whatnot, and I recommend if you have any like sound needs to go hit this guy up on Fiverr. He's a joy to talk to. Like I said in my review of him on Fiverr, he'll work with you like all through the steps of the way, listen to what you got to say, and he gets your vision, man. That's what it is. He understood it almost immediately what I was wanting and was very quick to help me out. So if you guys are ever needing sound stuff, go check this guy's Fiverr out, man. Seriously.
Oh yeah, thank you. I'd appreciate any and all work that anyone needs to do. I've been usually more towards the post-production broadcast part of the field, but I've been getting a lot more into the music side as well, and like doing different mixes and masters has been kind of my my go-to gig on Fiverr. But I'm again open to doing all that kind of work. I've been really trying to do just a bunch of random new gigs, even that like we talked about before, like the health, like sound, like through health or something, like health through sound, something that I've been looking into a lot. So yeah, any and all stuff.
Oh yeah, that's why I've been trying to get you and my music guy to link, because we were talking about the creativity versus technical thing. He's definitely on the creativity side of things. When I pitched it to my music guy, I said to him, hey, I'm wanting to make some music, and I want it to be like if you imagined skeletons in a bar playing poker, what would they be listening to? And I said that I want it to be kind of like this change in idea where it's chill, it's soothing, but it has this kind of off notes and slightly creepy tone to it, and he like nailed it, man. It's the music that's playing in the background here on this whole podcast here. And that's why I want kind of like you two to kind of get together, because like he's starting his like educational side of things. He's going to college for it and getting things situated and getting certified and whatnot. So like I thought it'd be cool to like get the grandmaster sound engineer with the really cool creative guy, you know, like see what happens.
Oh yeah, no, that would be awesome. I honestly, that sounds really cool. If I don't know if you'd be open to, we could do like a podcast, all three of us. That would be pretty cool. Talk about his background too.
Yeah, I'm definitely wanting to get. What I'll probably do is a podcast with just him one more time, because it's been over a year now since we last had a podcast with him. I've talked to him through the whole time, but he was just starting things about a year ago, and I think it'd be cool to have a podcast with him again and get like his update of how his stuff's been going, you know.
Yeah. Get like a good update podcast out there.
And then we'll bring you both on here for one here later down the line. I don't like to do back-to-backs, you know, but we'll get it lined up, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No pressure on it, of course, right? You know, whenever it happens.
Well, aside from that, in your free time, do you have any other hobbies or things, you know, that you do?
Well, yeah, honestly, I'm actually a big video game person. Well, not big, but I enjoy video. I'm a video game enjoyer, and also, you know, I'm also I'm a little bit of a weeb. I like anime quite a bit. That's been my usually, yeah, pretty much. If you ever catch me in my free time, I'm either out with my friends, playing video games, or watching anime.
Well, you brought it up before I did. We'll go right into that segment. One of the things that my community has requested me to do, it doesn't matter if the Pope is on this podcast or if you know who's on the podcast, it doesn't matter. I'm always supposed to apparently ask this question, and that's if you watch anime. And I think we've gotten our answer just a second ago. And tell us a little bit about what you watch, what you like, if you want to.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, so I'd say I watch a lot of anime. Most of what I did in my high school life was watch anime. Mainly my genres are more towards more like just well-written shows versus like action and whatever. So I really like Code Geass. What else? Wow, now that you ask me,
Gotta
I
put
can't
you on the
think of
spot.
anything.
Yeah. Hey, Code Geass. Code Geass is awesome. Like, no joke. I haven't had anybody mention Code Geass on here, so that's like pretty exciting to me. The sad part about Code Geass with me is I know I've watched it, but I cannot talk about it. Something that I've brought up to a lot of people is I got a little bit of a brain problem where my long-term memory's kind of shot and spotty. So there's some topics that's really hard for me to talk about when it comes to this. And Code Geass was like one of the first few animes that I watched. And unless I watch it over again, like I don't hold too many memories as well as other people. My brain's not like other people's, sadly. But I remember loving Code Geass. Like I remember being absolutely enamored with that show for like a while.
yeah. No, that is what I became as well, for sure. I was addicted to that show. I liked pretty much any kind of plot twist they had. Yeah. And honestly, you know, when I think about it, there are some other good ones. Like there's one of my favorite well-written was Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, like when they did the adaptation properly.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that one. And honestly, I would say wow, that is wild. You try to think about an anime that you like, and they're just gone. They're just not in your brain.
I'll put you on the spot. It's all good. Hey, the two that I always pitch, and some people have dedicated like this segment to being the reason why this show got revitalized, because we didn't think it was going to get a second season for the longest time. is Roka, the Six Braves of like the Hidden Flower or something like that. It for what it is, like it is a love note to the genre. It doesn't do anything like new or special, but it does it all perfectly well. Like it is straight up a love letter to the genre. But the biggest one that I recommend everybody, even non-anime watchers, because it's just an enjoyable movie. And it's a movie, so like anybody can watch it. And I think it's free on Amazon on Amazon Video or whatever. Is Redline. Redline is this like 245,000 image hand-drawn animation that is like a company's kind of passion project that they tried to make it as like high quality as they possibly could. It's like one of the best animations I've ever watched in my entire life.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's awesome. And if you like racing, if you like cars, if you like stuff like that, Redline is amazing.
Yeah, let me let me give you, just so I can have like an idea. So what I consider to be one of the top studios in animation right now is Ufotable, however you want to pronounce it. Would you say that like it's similar to that kind of quality?
What was the company one more time?
Ufotable. They're the ones who did Demon Slayer. There's another company that I like, Kyoto Animation. They do a lot of movies, the ones that are like real pretty, like Your Name and stuff like that.
Let me do it like this. I don't know if you have the stream pulled up or not.
I didn't want it to. I can't click on it because then I'd hear all of this double.
Well, I recommend looking it up later. Is the idea?
Yeah. No, I'm already putting a note.
I will say this about Redline's animation. It's not older, but apparently to the newer generation, because the last person we had on said that it looked older, but it's definitely not older. It's stylized, I guess you could say. It's got a lot of color and contrast. The way that they handle motion is different. Like they have this kind of sheen and almost chrome-like appearance.
Wait, I just looked it up. I know I've not seen this, but like I know of the studio that did this because I follow a lot of the studios. They're supposed to be like the best in the field of. Oh wow.
Yeah, and this particular one, they did like, I think it was like 230,000 hand-drawn images, and there's like next to no like editing with like digital software. I mean, they did a little bit just to compile it or whatever and make the movie, but they everything is pretty much hand-drawn and then digitalized, and
wow.
They made it in the old-fashioned way, and it looks like that, and it did not get the credit that it deserves. It did not get the everything that it like should. So like a lot of people have labeled a little bit of this Brimthen Babbles as a preach the Redline, preach the Roka, like get these things that deserve more attention, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As I bring them up every podcast, like they deserve more love than what they get.
I haven't. So it's funny you mentioned the initial one. I don't remember what it's called, but you said it. The one with the 7 flowers or something.
Yeah, Roka, Rokka.
Yeah. I didn't give that one a try, even though my friend told me to, and it's been on my queue, like my anime queue, for like God knows how long, like months now. You might have convinced me to try it out. I didn't know they was getting a second season too.
Yeah, they're getting a second season. What's my story behind Roka? I watched it literally the day it pretty much came out because I had an account on Japanese servers, and it like released that day over there, like long before it got an English release over here and everything. Like I basically got it like within like 3 days of its release, and it was, for its time when it came out, an entirely different style of like art that I wasn't used to. And just the story did really well. They, you know, in my opinion, it's one of the best animes that's been created. And I have been waiting ever since for a second season. And for the longest time, I thought it would never get one. That Roka would never see a second season, because it's in that category of anime where it was made by like a smaller company who were making like 3 animes at a time, and they picked the best one that was performing over there, and that's the one they kept going with, and Roka took a back seat. But then when it came over to the States, it got like a cult following and kind of blew up over here. So they have made enough money in the time between its release and its English release that they can justify doing a second season, which is just a miracle almost. Because all other companies, this would have never seen a second season.
Yeah. What company do you know?
I don't remember it, but I looked it up. I'm not good with the company name side of things. Let me Google it real quick here.
Right. Yeah, no, I've loved doing that kind of research to figure out why and how stuff gets affected by that in the anime world and stuff like that.
I'm one of those people that look up the stuff, but I don't keep track of names. Like when it comes to movies, I usually don't keep track of the actors' names or anything like that. I pay attention to their characters. Like, I'll recognize their face, but like I'll never remember an actor's name unless it's like super, you know, actors.
Right.
Oh, I'm gonna butcher it anyway. Suisha? I think is the company.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, I'm not sure how it's pronounced in the actual phonetic way, but I've always seen like other Americans pronounce it Shueisha.
I don't know. But yeah, that's the company that makes Roka. I just know that they're like a smaller group that, like, you know, and when it comes to the smaller anime companies, it's very rare to see a second season if it like doesn't perform well over in their area.
Yeah.
But
normally not at all. I've not seen any animes like that usually get a second season, not from the ones that I know of at least.
Yeah, from what I can tell, it's only getting a second season because of its English, because it grew over here in popularity.
Really?
Yep.
That's pretty cool. I always like to see those.
Oh yeah. Well, outside of that, is there anything else you would like to talk about or bring up, or any questions for me?
Well, I did have I did have one other question for you, actually. Yeah, it was mainly just so you said that you initially wanted to be you said it to is it therapy, or is it like what's it called, the study
research psychology.
Research psychology.
I did not want to touch therapy. I did not want to touch psychiatry. That's all for the people that like to deal with people. No. Like, I never wanted to deal with people. But I wanted to be in psychology. Research psychology is more on the studying how the brain works, how people interact. You know, research psychologists are the ones that pull out all those surveys and like ask people to do these like big, crazy, weird tests and stuff like that. Like, I wanted to be the dude with the where we're like, hey, we'll give you $100 if you'll come over here and let us make you walk through a room of green, red, and yellow colors and then tell us how you feel about it. You know, I wanted to be the guy that was like guinea pigging people, not the guy helping people, you know. I want to torture people. I'm not here to help people. You know, come sit in this electric chair and we're gonna shock you about 60 times while you tell us different things about yourself.
Yeah.
You know? But I was really enjoying that. I did a lot of classes and stuff on it, but I never got far into college because life finds a way.
Right.
So.
No, totally. Yeah, no, I've also very much so can relate to that sentiment because initially I was in the military, and that's really what I thought I was going to do for the rest of my life, and I had like 3 months to realize that is not what's going to happen. After like 3 months in, yeah.
Yeah, the only certification that I got out of all of that was from the Paul Ekman Foundation for Micro Expressions. I took a 3-week course to learn micro expressions. So like the little subtle movements of people's faces, like an upturned lip means scorn, stuff like that. I was yeah.
Sorry, what are those called? What's the study of them?
Micro expressions.
Okay, I've had such an interest in that kind of side of psychology, and I'm very so yeah. Can you explain a little bit more about it?
So there's an entire TV show dedicated to it called Lie to Me.
I've seen it. But okay, sorry. Continue.
That show, all of the science behind it is 100% accurate, and Paul Ekman is the one that consulted the company that made that show. And Paul Ekman runs his own foundation, and you can get certified under his foundation and take like online courses and stuff like that. I took this course like when it was in its infancy, when they were like first starting up those courses and stuff. And it was so interesting. Just simple things like when a person is lying, there's a common misconception that they will look away or that they will avert their eyes out of shame, and that's just completely incorrect. Like, a person lying to you more often than not will stare directly into your eyes because they're subconsciously reading to see if you're believing them, because they've already rehearsed their lie in their head and all they're doing is reciting it. And what they're doing is they're actually watching you to see if you're buying their lie. When somebody recalls a memory, they will look up and away or look down at their feet because their body is disconnecting from the conversation in order to pull back a memory into their mind. So they'll avert their gaze to a static place like the ground or the ceiling or off into the distance, while their brain is working to recall that memory in order to explain something that wasn't rehearsed. And another great one that I learned is if somebody is lying to you and they're telling you something like, yes, I'm very interested in this, but their head's actually shaking no. Like they're subconsciously like nodding their head left and right. And they're saying, yes, I'm interested in this. It usually means that they're lying to you because their body's saying, no, I'm not interested in that. But their mouth is saying, yes, actually it is. Your body will not lie when you do, is the issue.
Right. That is something that so through watching that show, I've like done like tests on myself with that kind of thing, because I'm always like, oh, I don't react like that when I lie. And then it's like, if I think about it, it's like, okay, I don't react exactly like that, but the general idea is, yes, that is how I react.
Yep. The only exception to it, because everybody does it, it doesn't matter. You could be the Pope, you could be the president. Everybody's bodies pretty much do the same thing, except for people who have different kinds of mental disabilities, or if you have a tic or something that kind of messes with that normalcy. Because like me, I am very restless. I have like high levels of like energy and stuff. So like I'm always moving. My foot's always tapping. There's always something in my body is always moving, even if it's just like my fingers are just lightly moving around. I can't actually sit still. So it's harder on people like me to read, because what could just be, you know, a nervous kind of movement can be misconstrued with micro expressions.
Okay, so yeah, that is something that I've noticed with me. Like I heard like or not. I heard like it was there was like a micro expression of aggression that people normally do, and I didn't understand why mine was I have like a almost like a I've noticed like a subconscious. It's wild to me how like micro expressions affect how your subconscious kind of dealt with stuff before.
Yep.
And I noticed that with so I noticed that with how when I were to get angry, the only thing that I could do to try to calm down would be to I crack my knuckles and my whole body starts shaking without I'm not doing it. I don't remember the word. It's like
non-voluntary.
Involuntary, exactly.
You're doing it subconsciously as well.
Right. So then through that, I was like, oh wow, okay. And then through that, being aware of it was actually helped me deal with a lot of my aggression issues because of me catching on to these things that my body already did on its own, like without me even noticing, like subconsciously. Super interesting stuff. I've always enjoyed it.
You know, because I make these videos and stuff on the internet. I can go back and watch myself, and I have, and what I have is what's classified as assurant expressions. So like with you talking right here, I'm sitting here nodding my head because I'm always assuring myself that I understand what somebody is saying and that I grasp the conversation. And when somebody brings up something that I don't know, I can oftentimes see myself looking up and like thinking about it. Like I ponder and you can see me pondering and stuff like that. And it's super fun to watch myself, especially with like the stuff that I know, because at the time I don't notice it. Like I never realize I'm doing it until like I pay attention to it later.
Yeah.
So
no, that's usually how it is with me as well. It's not something I can catch fast, but it's something that I need to. Well, I personally have tried to work on catching it just so I could feel good about myself, because for me, one of the number one things are always like awareness of myself and others, so then I could know how to just, how to live life, right?
Yeah. And that is one of the things that I've always preached, is just like live your life, you know what I mean? Like enjoy things, learn things, try new things. And that's one of the things that I like built this channel around, is like talking to people about like there's more to life than what you know, so go out there and reach it type deals.
Yeah.
So anyway, we should probably be wrapping up. So for one more time here, tell us what you do, pitch yourself. If you want people to come check out something, if you have like another social media or whatever, go for it. This is your moment to talk and tell people about yourself. Let the world know whatever you want to tell them. The mic is yours for a second here, man.
Awesome. All right. So, well, I just to reiterate, my name is Livengal, and I'm an audio engineer. You could find me on Fiverr as well as on Instagram, but I will be honest, the Fiverr will be the best place for it. And not much really to plug. Not really that kind of person. Most of everything I do is word of mouth, and after that, I just live my life. But I was really happy to be here, and I think I got to learn some more about yourself as well, which was very good to see, and I honestly would like to do this again sometime. And I've if anyone would ever want to do any work on Fiverr, I'm totally there, and believe me, I'd be able to speak a lot more naturally as well. I'm not too good on the spot moments, but whenever anyone needs anything that has to do with any post video production as well as music production, I'm your guy. I can do it all.
Yep, and it was lovely working with him as well, and yeah, great conversation, solid podcast. Appreciate you being on here, and as a reminder to everybody, anybody is welcome to come onto the podcast. All you gotta do is send me a message over on Discord. As you can see, it's just a casual conversation where we go back and forth and talk about whatever's on your mind. It can be anything, you know. If you're just a gamer wanting to talk about games, come on and we'll talk about it. I started this, and to bring up the Fiverr thing here, the original start for this podcast was to throw some more love at the people that's helped me build my channel and whatnot, you know. So like the first few people that was ever on this podcast was like my artists and my music guys and stuff like that, and I always try to get them on here because I wanna kind of give back to them for helping me grow this kind of channel. And since then I have also brought on viewers and people that's been interested in the channel because I want to show that love to them as well. And if you want to come on, just send me a message and we'll go from there. But it was lovely having you on here, Liv, and I hope you have a great day. And just like I tell everybody, every day's a great day. Some days are just tougher than others, so just try your best and you know, tell a friend of yours that you appreciate them. Peace.
All right, thank you. See you
later.